Super Mario Sunshine is the ultimate feel-good game that perfectly captures the good vibes and atmosphere of a tropical vacation. It doesn't matter if you're racing bloopers in Rico Harbor or riding amusement rides in Pina Park, it's easy to get completely immersed in the sun-drenched paradise of Isle Delfino. Through its vibrant colors and cohesive theming, Super Mario Sunshine is able to craft an identity as strong as any game I've ever played, which is why it is still being discussed over 2 decades after its release. While its quality may still be in debate by some, what's not arguable is how iconic this GameCube classic has become over the years, thanks in large part to the unique and interesting levels found within. Today, we will comb over each and every stage to see why the game has the polarizing reputation that it has, and eventually decide which level deserves the top spot. Welcome to every Super Mario Sunshine level ranked. If you are a longtime fan of this channel, you might recall a video I made early on called The Low Point of Super Mario Sunshine, where I talk at length about why Sirena Beach is the worst level in the game. I won't go into every detail I mentioned there again, as you can simply go watch that video if you'd like, but there are a few points that are worth reiterating here. The most important, and the true reason I've placed it last on this list, is because it is the only course in the game that has multiple missions that I actively dislike and can't skip. Chief among those are the Secret of Casino Delfino, King Boo Down Below, and Shadow Mario Checks In. The Secret of Casino Delfino is by far my least favorite shine in all of Super Mario Sunshine. I understand how broken the pachinko machine is and how janky the lily pad ride can be, but nothing infuriates me as much as the flip puzzle you need to complete in this episode to unlock the pipe to the secret area. Trying to accurately aim with F.L.U.D. is borderline impossible, and it results in you frequently flipping panels that were already in the correct position. The panels themselves feel unpredictable as well, and it makes it feel like there is no correct way to approach this puzzle. Once you get past it, the secret area itself is fine, but getting there is such a hassle that it puts immense pressure on you not to die, lest you find yourself back at that ridiculous flip puzzle again. King Boo Down Below similarly frustrates me because you are at the whims of RNG once again to get the pull you need. I have many bad memories of being locked in cycle after cycle of enemies and bubbles, all because a piece of fruit I tossed at King Boo went right through him instead of dealing damage like it should have. Admittedly, it's an easy fight, but my patience runs razor thin when I'm waiting for ages just to have an opportunity to attack again. I appreciate the attempt to incorporate the casino theme, but pretty much everything about this fight fails to be fun, and I dread it on every playthrough. Shadow Mario Checks In, on the other hand, doesn't cause me dread as much as it just annoys me with its terrible camera controls. Every single time I've played this mission, I've lost track of Shadow Mario at least once, not from my own doing, but because of the camera's refusal to cooperate with me. When you try something and fail, it's not generally a big deal because you only have yourself to blame, but when something takes twice as long as it should and is out of your control, it feels like you're being unfairly punished. Honestly, if that one problem was fixed, I probably wouldn't mind this mission, even if it is the umpteenth time in the game that we've chased Shadow Mario down, but as is, it's hard to overlook when it's an episode we must complete to beat the game. And there are other small issues I have with other episodes in Sirena Beach as well, but instead of getting into them, I want to amend something I said in a previous video on the subject and give praise to the level where it's due. Sirena Beach is a beautiful level with a really great atmosphere, and the setting of a spooky hotel is not dull or uninspired. While I'm still not a fan of the gameplay surrounding the hotel, I acknowledge that the concept is unique for the Mario franchise and hope to see more novel ideas like this in the future. I only wish that the quality of Sirena Beach's episodes and music matched the creativity of its concepts and settings, because there was a lot of potential here that I felt was squandered. I understand why people might like this stage, but I have too many issues with it, which is why it's an easy pick for the worst full stage in Super Mario Sunshine. As far as 3D Mario games are concerned, I'd have to select Bianco Hills as the worst opening stage in the series. While not aggressively bad or anything, Nintendo has a habit of kicking their games off with a bang, which isn't what we see here in Super Mario Sunshine. My biggest issue with Bianco Hills comes from the fact that its first 2 episodes are extremely boring and a chore to get through, especially in repeat playthroughs. The first episode, Road to the Big Windmill, is a complete waste of time as you were forced into yet another Goop Piranha fight that changes nothing from your first encounter on Delfino Airstrip. Its follow-up, Down with PD Piranha, isn't much better as essentially he is just a buffed up Goop Piranha himself, and the fight only has one extra step to it. Even though PD is an endearing character and meeting him for the first time was a cool moment, this means you'll already be a quarter of the way through the level's episodes before you get to any new, exciting content. Thankfully, once you do, you're treated to one of the most fun mission types in the game as you enter the Hillside Cave secret area to complete a platforming obstacle course without the help of F.L.U.D. It's a great change of pace from what you've gotten used to up to that point in the game and offers a small but satisfying challenge to overcome. Its follow-up a few episodes later, The Secret of the Dirty Lake, is even better and ups both the length and difficulty of its course to create a memorable test for your skills. Like all secret courses, both of these stages can be replayed with F.L.U.D to earn additional shines by collecting red coins, and while not as novel or challenging as the original objective, they highlight the value of F.L.U.D by allowing you to bypass previously intimidating hazards with ease. It's so empowering to easily conquer a level you may have struggled with before, and along with the initial challenge provided here, it's no wonder why Bianco Hill's secret areas stand out as the best of what the level has to offer. Outside of the secret areas, Bianco Hills doesn't really have a lot of noteworthy content. Both red coin missions are decent, but nothing to write home about. Shadow Mario on the Loose is a joke of an episode which can actually be completed before he even crosses the river. And the rematch with PD Piranha, while certainly a lot more interesting than your first fight with him, is janky and slow and doesn't really add much value to the stage. Honestly, I'm not sure why they would have us battle PD and Bianco Hills twice, but repetitive shines are a recurring problem that we'll see throughout the game's courses and not exactly exclusive to this level. What saves Bianco Hills from being ranked as Sunshine's worst stage is its catchy theme, warm and welcoming aesthetic, and intro area. One of Super Mario Sunshine's best qualities is its movement, and I can't think of another section that showcases that better than the opening moments of Bianco Hills. Sliding down that initial slope at high speeds only to somersault onto a tightrope that flings you high in the air is a sequence that is satisfying to pull off every time because you feel in complete control of Mario. It's a great teaching tool to demonstrate that you can utilize water for platforming even without F.L.U.D, while also showing how fluid movement can be when stringing together different techniques. I love the way it allows you to get right into the heart of the level in a fun way, and it makes me wish every level had an opening like this. That said, one small section that I really enjoy at the beginning of the level is not enough to elevate Bianco Hills above the other courses in the game. Aside from PD Piranha, there's nothing about Bianco Hills that really stands out as unique, as we see plenty of red coin missions, secret areas, and piranha fights throughout the game. Bianco Hills needed a little more variety in its episodes to keep the gameplay interesting, as you really only have a few mission types when you break it down. Imagine how cool it would have been to have an episode centered around using the turbo nozzle to race around the lake, or perhaps a mission designed around defeating enemies with the super ground pound you get from using the rocket nozzle. Unfortunately, these ideas are never explored, and it's why, in spite of Bianco Hills being one of the only levels in the game in which you can collect every blue coin in a single mission, I must rank it as low as I have. When I think about my favorite shines in Super Mario Sunshine, the one earned from the Shell's secret is always among the first that spring to mind. The secret courses are my favorite type of mission in the game, and Noki Bays just might be the best of them all because of the way it tests your platforming skills in such a fun way. There are multiple distinct sections from this episode that stand out, from the ascent to the shell itself using tightropes, to the wall kick you have to nail to reach the spinning blocks, which make replaying this mission so enjoyable. And unlike some of the other secret areas, I actually don't mind coming back a second time to collect red coins because the time restriction and coin placement actually make it an interesting challenge. Aside from those two shines, Noki Bay feels most notable for its tranquil, almost sacred setting and atmosphere. Super Mario Sunshine's greatest strength is its ability to envelop the player in the distinct atmosphere of each of its creative locations, and I'm not sure another level has as strong of an aura as Noki Bay has. The bay feels incredibly peaceful and at ease, and has an almost restorative quality to it. Whereas Rico Harbor and Pina Park were all about high-energy activities, and Bianco Hills and Gelato Beach were all about relaxing and taking it slow, Noki Bay feels like it's about healing and escaping the problems of the world for a bit. It's refreshing and has a borderline spiritual feel that is complemented by a soothing music track that completes my favorite aesthetic in a game all about aesthetics. The problem with Noki Bay is that, much like Super Mario Sunshine as a whole, once you look past its serene atmosphere, you find that many of its shines do not hold up very well. For a game all about immersiveness, it's really jarring how often I'm taken out of the good vibes of the level I find most easy to get immersed in due to its mediocre or downright bad missions. The most egregious of the bunch is the 4th episode, Ely-Mouthed Dentist, but episode 8, The Red Coinfish, and to a lesser extent episode 3, Red Coins in a Bottle, are also terrible missions. Each of these episodes suffer from the same exact problem, that of utilizing janky underwater controls, to varying degrees of failure. The main issue is that you just don't have even close to the control underwater that you do on land as Mario. Being forced to rely on F.L.U.D. was not a good decision for these episodes because it doesn't feel responsive enough for accurate movement. It's difficult to gauge whether or not you've held the trigger down for long enough, making it easy to undershoot or overshoot your target, which adds even more time to these slow, drawn-out missions. Ely-Mouthed Dentist in particular can take forever if you make a miscalculation because you could be swallowed by him or simply just miss a cycle, forcing you to waste time waiting for him to open his mouth again. But the red coin fish can be just as bad at times, as red coins will make themselves temporarily unavailable by clipping out of bounds, leaving you no other option than to wait. I would love to rank Noki-Bay higher because in addition to its incredible aesthetic, it also has some very interesting level design that I'm fond of. I appreciate the verticality of Noki-Bay, and I've always thought it was neat how you can reveal hidden pathways built into the cliffside. But considering how half the appeal of a Mario game comes from how well he moves around, it's a big problem that Noki-Bay takes that factor away for nearly half of its episodes. And it's why, despite excelling in the category I think is the most important for Super Mario Sunshine, that it just cracks the top 5. Pianta Village has high highs and low lows, but it's generally one of the more consistent levels in Super Mario Sunshine. I could take or leave the Shadow Mario and Piantissimo episodes, as both concepts are fine, just overdone, but aside from 1 or 2 shines, everything in this course is good to great. I think where it falls short is mainly in its aesthetics, which while not bad on their own, comparatively don't stack up to most of the rest of Sunshine's beautiful levels. Similarly, its music is nice and fits really well with the tribal nature of Pianta Village's setting, but feels overshadowed by other tracks that can be found on Sunshine's OST. Otherwise, Pianta Village manages to keep things interesting even after we enter our 7th course of the game by introducing a new hazard unique to the stage in Burning Goop. This hazard is much more punishing than its electric variant encountered earlier in Sunshine, as you gain a much shorter period of invincibility while taking damage, making it a much more dangerous and also much more satisfying obstacle to overcome. My absolute favorite shine in Super Mario Sunshine happens to be the Goopy Inferno for that reason, because I enjoy the danger it presents. Although it's a lot of fun to go under the stage as intended and platform around the walkways down there, I almost always choose to make a leap of faith over the burning goop to finish the episode faster than intended. By going over to the river and using spin jumps and backflips out of the water, it's possible to create a path for yourself to get F.L.U.D. back without going underground at all, and pulling it off is extremely satisfying every time. On the other side of things, we have the Secret of the Village Underside, which is among the least satisfying episodes to complete in the entire game. This mission takes F.L.U.D. away from you as usual, but instead of testing you with a creative platforming challenge, you instead must get chucked around by Piantas instead. I don't take issue with the concept so much as I do with the execution, because getting these Piantas to fling you where you want can feel very inconsistent at times. You'll speak to them confident that you're lined up correctly, just for them to change angles on you at the last moment before tossing you off the stage to your death. It can get very annoying very quickly, especially if you happen to get a game over, forcing you to go through the process of unlocking Yoshi again before you can reopen the secret area's entrance. It's a tedious process to have to repeat, and the end result doesn't feel good because it seems less like you earned the shine, and more like you just lucked into it. In the middle of these two polar opposites, there are a bunch of other solid episodes that help Pianta Village rise into the top half of this ranking. I'm always impressed, for example, by how much I enjoy the final episode considering it is yet another red coin collecting mission. They did a great job hiding them off the beaten path here, which made it feel like a genuinely fun treasure hunt instead of just another mindless chore. Floating through the sky to grab the shine atop the clouds is a standout moment in the game and really cements this as my favorite red coin mission in Super Mario Sunshine. I also really like the 2 missions where you help the burning chain chomps and feel they contribute a lot to the character of the Piantas. I like that these beefy tree people keep one of the more ferocious Mario enemies in the franchise as pets, and it makes them feel like the dogs they were inspired by. Similarly, Piantas in Need is another feel-good episode that sees Mario save a bunch of Piantas stuck in burning goop under the pressure of a timer. Although I think the timer is a bit too generous, I still enjoy the concept of this mission and find it fun to race around helping Piantas out, and honestly just appreciate that it isn't a rehash this late into the game. The Soak the Sun secret mission is kind of dumb, and I doubt most will intuitively know what to do to unlock it, but it's simple and quick when you do know, so overall not that harmful. And finally, the 100 coin star isn't too bad either, being one of the easiest when you know to eat all the bees as Yoshi for a ton of easy coins. All said, Pianta Village is a good, if not great level that shows that there is quality to be found in Super Mario Sunshine outside its vibe and aesthetic. If I had to show someone one level from Super Mario Sunshine to give them an idea of what the game is all about, Gelato Beach would have to be my pick. With crystal waters and sunny blue skies, it perfectly captures the laid-back, happy-go-lucky attitude of Isle Delfino. You truly feel like you're on a tropical vacation here thanks to its peaceful music that puts you at ease, and its relaxing, open, airy level design. Gelato Beach represents everything great about a tropical getaway, and its warm vibes are why it's one of my favorite aesthetics in the game. I'm also a big fan of the Cataquacks that debuted in this course because there is something endearing about these goofy, dumb, duck-like creatures. If you get too close to them, they'll fling you high into the air, but generally they're harmless and feel like decoration most of the time. I like that we get to see yet another species native to Isle Delfino, and it always helped sell the new world Mario was exploring to me. But as fond as I am of these little blue and red enemies, I'd be lying if I said they didn't piss me off in Gelato Beach's final episode, the Watermelon Festival. This is one of my least favorite episodes in Super Mario Sunshine because it's so infuriating to repeatedly lose all your progress from any tiny mistake you make. Cataquacks are littered everywhere, and it takes a lot of effort to maneuver your watermelon around them because the fruit you need to earn the shine is so huge. To be honest, it is less the Cataquack's fault and more the sensitivity of the massive watermelon you must push that gets me, but it still sucks to watch as a Cataquack undoes all the careful work you've put into transporting this giant fruit to the judges. Even when you diligently check your surroundings, it feels like a Cataquack can sneak up on you at any time, but even if you manage to avoid them all, there are still plenty of other ways for this mission to go sideways that feel even worse. This results in the shine granting you a great deal of relief, but not in a satisfying way, which is why it's one of Sunshine's worst missions. Another shine that's likely in Super Mario Sunshine's bottom 10 is the one earned in Episode 4, The Sand Bird is Born. While the concept is unique, auto-scrollers have always been among my least favorite level types in Mario, and it really doesn't translate well to a 3D environment like this. Aside from how easy it is to fall off the bird and die, this mission is a nightmare for 100% runs because of the blue coins found in this section. If you miss even just one, it means you must either kill yourself right away to restart the mission, or you must come back to replay the episode later on. Either scenario is annoying, and at least one of them is guaranteed to happen on your first playthrough, as it's hard to react in the moment when you don't know their locations. It's an infamous mission for a good reason, and one of the worst that Sunshine has to offer. That said, Gelato Beach does have some really good, memorable missions like the Dune Bud Sandcastle Secret and the satisfying fight against an angry, rampaging Wiggler in Episode 3. The problem is that Gelato Beach's episodes vary wildly in quality, which holds it back from climbing into one of the top spots in this ranking. While this stage is iconic, it's equally infamous for things like its monotonous 100 coin shine that requires you to repeatedly break watermelons against a wall. And unfortunately, it's a lot easier to remember the bad moments of Gelato Beach than its good ones, even if it does so well outside of its shines. I always enjoy my time in Gelato Beach, and it's still in the top half of Sunshine's levels for me, but personally there are too many issues for me to rank it any higher. A common point of focus throughout this ranking has been on the aesthetic and atmospheres of each level, and I want to talk for a moment about why these qualities are so important for Super Mario Sunshine. Since this game's release in 2002, the Mario series has really opened up and tried out some wacky, out-of-the-box stuff, but prior to Super Mario Sunshine, this really wasn't the case. Mario games released before Sunshine were pretty formulaic, and while true that Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World experimented a little with some gimmicky levels, there wasn't a ton of deviation from the standard course types. Super Mario 64 naturally continued this trend as the series made the jump to 3D for the first time, and we were again treated to the typical grass, desert, water, sky, lava, and ice-themed levels we were already familiar with. But then Super Mario Sunshine released, and that trend got bucked as we were now exploring haunted casinos, bustling harbors, and most excitingly, a full-fledged amusement park. These ideas were so different and unique at the time, and Peanut Park in particular always stood out for bringing Mario somewhere he had never been before. From a design perspective, this stage is one of the most enjoyable to mess around in because the ride density makes for a really fun platforming environment. The course utilizes its attractions in a really cohesive way that makes bouncing around the stage natural and fun. Whether you're climbing to the tippy top of a Ferris wheel or collecting red coins with the use of swinging ships, every shine in Peanut Park is very memorable. This is also one of the only levels in the game that progresses the story of Super Mario Sunshine in any meaningful way, and the reveal of Shadow Mario being Bowser Jr. has always stood out for that reason. Even though the story isn't anything to write home about, it's nice that there is some mid-game development, as that had not been the case in previous main series Mario games. I appreciate that Sunshine even has a story, let alone a twist halfway through the game, and it contributes to the tone of Peanut Park as much as its whimsical music and goopless environment do. And while admittedly I'm not crazy about the Mecha Bowser fight because the camera controls for the roller coaster section are terrible, there's no denying it's a cool concept for a fight that makes Peanut Park feel more important. I wish I could say the same about the course's final episode, Roller Coaster Balloons, but I can't as they bring back the terrible camera controls and gameplay without any of the elements that made that first mission fun. It can be disorienting trying to aim at these tiny targets while you're spinning upside down, and it feels easy to miss one of the balloons even with 3 laps around the track. I hate that failing requires you to make your way all the way back to the Noki running the ride rather than just respawning you on the coaster so you can try again right away, and don't understand why some missions in Sunshine don't give you a checkpoint while others rightfully do. It's not one of the absolute worst missions in the game, but it is a black mark on Peanut Park that could have been fixed in a number of different ways. Overall, Peanut Park doesn't have a lot for me to criticize because it makes a lot of smart choices and features a ton of great episodes. The 100 coin shine is made extremely easy to get thanks to an infinite number of bullet bills that can be destroyed in episode 2, including the occasional gold bullet bill that speeds up the process by dropping a large amount of coins. The Yoshi Go Round secret is the first episode to feature Yoshi in Super Mario Sunshine and stands out for a clever entrance puzzle and solid obstacle course. And even the less memorable missions, like the Wilted Sunflowers of Episode 4 or Shadow Mario in the Park of Episode 7, are quick, simple, and easy and don't detract from the course in any way. While not perfect, everything about Peanut Park is good, from its music to its level design to its aesthetic and missions, and it's why there's only one course in Super Mario Sunshine that I'd rank above it. Before I jump into everything that makes Ricco Harbor my favorite level in Super Mario Sunshine, I first want to acknowledge my biggest issue with it, which is its repetitiveness. For the second course in the game, I could see a lot of players getting turned off because there are a lot of repeated ideas here. You fight Gooper Blooper in episodes 1 and 5, you collect red coins in episodes 4 and 6, you race bloopers twice in episode 2 for both a regular and a secret shine, and you revisit the Secret of Ricco Tower twice as well, once for its obstacle course and again later for the red coins I just mentioned. And that's without mentioning Shadow Mario Revisited in episode 7, which marks the 3rd time in Sunshine that you'll be hunting down this mysterious foe. For those reasons alone, I could see why many might not rank Ricco Harbor very high on their own lists, because there isn't as much variety to be found here as there are in some of the other courses in the game. However, unlike every other level in Super Mario Sunshine, Ricco Harbor does not have any notably bad episodes to speak of. So while it does suffer from repetitiveness, I never dread replaying this stage because Ricco Harbor is able to avoid the lows that many of Sunshine's other levels reach. And while it repeats ideas, that doesn't mean that Ricco Harbor didn't try anything new either, because it does introduce new enemies, new mission types, and a new boss in Gooper Blooper. What I really love about Ricco Harbor is its palpable energy that enhances every task you do. The port is constantly moving and changing, and the non-stop activity is exciting and infectious. With its chaotic level design and upbeat music track, it's such a nice contrast to the majority of Sunshine's laid-back courses, and I love the freedom of movement found here. It is the only place outside Delfino Plaza where manhole covers can be found that allow Mario to get from one side of the stage to the other quickly, and there are more nozzle boxes found in this level than any other Sunshine course. Rico Harbor has my favorite level design in the game for reasons such as these, and I've always enjoyed how it allows you to reach several shines in a variety of ways. One of my favorite gaming memories comes from the first time I ever completed the Cage Shine Sprite mission without using the catwalks because it felt so good to grab it much faster than intended. By jumping off the crane by the Shine's cage, it's possible to hover and grab the chain link from below, allowing you to complete this method without the need of the rocket nozzle. To this day, it still feels good to nail that jump because you're choosing the higher risk-reward option and succeeding, and I wish Sunshine had more of these moments throughout its runtime. To just say that it's fun to run around Rico Harbor would be an understatement, as I'm not sure there's another stage in Sunshine that fills me with as much joy when platforming as this one does. I love blasting through the water with the turbo nozzle or on the back of a blooper to collect red coins, and I look forward to executing precise jumps with Yoshi during his fruit adventure. I enjoy maneuvering the tight catwalks above the water to get coins for the 100 coin mission, and am fond of leaping across spinning blocks in Rico Tower's secret area for its shine. And I honestly don't even mind doing the blooper race twice because I find it so fun. As I said to start, I can see the arguments against Rico Harbor being ranked as high as it is, but for me, when I think of Super Mario Sunshine, this is the stage that I have the best memories from, and it's why I've put it in the number 1 spot. Thanks so much for watching my ranking of every level in Super Mario Sunshine. These levels, regardless of their quality, all had a ton of charm that really forced me to think about what made each of them good or bad, but I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you agree with my ranking? And if not, then how would you rank each level in Super Mario Sunshine? Let me know, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to stay tuned for my future videos.